Hi, well, this is Christy, the Skeptic Medium. I'm going to be talking today about the revelation I received on the 25th of August 2022. This revelation actually was delving more into the question of the lizard species on our planet and what they are like. They're showing me more information about them. Before I went on this particular trip, I call it a trip because it's so far away from me when I'm having these experiences. I was asked to check my spiritual protection barrier, and I actually saw the barrier. It was this barrier that I've put up, a protective barrier around myself. This is something that I've had to work very hard on. Since I became a medium, this was one of the first things that was communicated to me, was that I need to focus on this spiritual protection. And I now see that this has a lot to do with not being deceived by false entities who might want to trick me. I also need to keep the red souls away from me. And to understand, the red souls are the souls that are incarnating into the lizard race, and they are red souls incarnating into human form as well. So the red souls are really the ones that are quite an enemy to me at the moment, and I've got to be careful of that. So I was shown the life of a lizard child, what that was like. It's important for me to note that I have since also received further information that the lizard species are not able to reproduce anymore. And this is why the elites are so obsessed with tweaking humans, with experimenting with humans, with breeding. Part of what is happening to them is that they're in decline because they are no longer able to multiply, and they don't know why that is. But it was actually set in place by the creators of our earth. All right, so they told me about what a lizard child is like, and the very youngest lizard children left on the planet now. Okay, so comparatively speaking, they are 70 years old, though in our terms that would be a 14-year-old human. Their life cycle is very slow. Now, I was shown that there was a lizard child that was actually in a school in South Africa, and part of those very super rich families that control our country. And the lizard children don't know that they are lizards while they are children. They have the shape-shifting technology put over them, and as far as they know, they are like everybody else. But they are a bit different, though. They don't quite know why. But in their world, every one of them, all of the children will have at least one servant assigned to them to be their slave. This will be a human. And I was shown, I went actually into the mind of this lizard child and the way that she treated her servant. And her servant was looked at as an animal, seen as a dog, as a pet. And this particular child had a servant called Betsy, who was a black lady. And this lady was basically on her beck and call for anything all the time. And she would, in the image that I had, I saw her having a fantasy tea party. And Betsy, her servant, was one of the guests. But Betsy had to basically do whatever the girl wanted, even if it was the most humiliating, ridiculous things. But the servant does it. Interestingly, the servants become so subservient that they accept it. And if they are trained to listen and do whatever they have to do, they realize they get a roof over their head, they have a good living, and they meet some pretty awesome people. So it's something that they choose to do, the people that end up becoming their servants. I was told and shown that as far as lizards are concerned, black people are seen as making pretty good servants to them. It's a terrible thing because when I experience them, they're so matter of fact. in their cruelty. But what I felt as I experienced her was that they are obedient, they have high tolerance for torture, it's easy to break them spiritually, and the lizards actually even look back on some of their servants with fondness because they truly see them as dogs, just dogs that can do more tricks. Okay, so there comes a time in a lizard child's life where they are shown what they really are. It's like a coming out ceremony, and I think it's where all other coming out ceremonies actually originate from, because there is a huge lizard coming out ceremony where the child is shown what they really are. And from there on, all the sweetness and innocence that might be found in any lizard child seems to disappear because they are so into themselves, selfish, self-absorbed. Now, the lizards don't want to leave our planet. They are fighting to stay here because it is fantastic for them here. They control the planet and they have a legion of slaves, us humans. The world is theirs. They have the best of everything. They have the greatest technology, medical health, education, the finest of everything. This planet is their heaven. This planet is their respite from the horrible place that they live in the spirit world. Now, they showed me something that I had never before even begun to think of as a possible thing. They are trying to capture our souls. And we, the humans of this earth, are light beings. We need to understand this very strongly. We are connected to light. We are full of love. Our true natures are full of love. And the lizards want our souls. As it is, they already feed on our physical beings and they try to steal our essence. But they want to actually capture our souls. And so what they are doing is that there is a time between life and death when our soul is in transit to the other side, that we break through the sound barrier, not the sound barrier, sorry, the light barrier, the speed of light. And at that moment, and it makes a boom in much the way that when we break the sound barrier, it makes a boom. When you break the speed of light, this also happens. And it's just at the time of death, and it's just at the time of birth. It's in that moment when the soul enters the body. And they are trying to capture the soul before it gets into the body. Hence their complete obsession and need to have more and more babies to experiment on, to be around when babies are born, to be around when people die. They're trying to capture the essence, our souls. So they're doing everything in their power to do this. And CERN, the Hadron Collider, the particle accelerator, is trying to get particles to the speed of light. And then you can understand why they're trying to do that. Because if they can capture a particle at the speed of light, at the time that it breaks through the speed of light barrier, then they can capture our souls. That's what CERN is about, trying to capture our souls. Now, what they know and what they've managed to discover from CERN, and from other experiments, is that when particles are moving, they don't behave in the way that would be expected. And as they get closer to the speed of light, they become more unpredictable in where they're going to land. And they end up landing in two different places. From where they center to where it ends up being, they actually find that the particle has actually split and is at two different places at the same time. This is part of confusing them. They're not going to find out how to do this. The powers of this universe are not going to allow them to have that knowledge, though they're trying their very best. They're trying to capture the God particle, is what you would call it, God energy. They know that we as human beings have God within us. And so they're trying to capture us, to try to get connected to the God energy, the power. And it's such an interchangeable term, but let me just call it the power of God, that great, unimaginable, unexplainable power. They want it and they can't get in. The only way you get to be a part of it is through suffering, is through struggles, is through growing yourself and expanding. The lizards are not expanding. So when we hear the statement, we are here to learn and grow. Learn and grow, they always go together, and Spirit always talks to me in those two terms. They come together, to learn and to grow. How are we growing? And they explain this to me exactly. We are literally growing. We are expanding. Our souls are expanding. This is what we want to do. We come to Earth because Earth helps us to expand astronomically every time that we come here. We finish our life here and we have grown so much and we are so extraordinarily improved that we want to come back and do it again because we know how much we grew the last time. And it's all about expansion. The souls that are coming to this planet want to grow. And they want to grow fast, and this planet allows for that. The lizards are not in a state of expansion. They're in a state of shrinking. Their souls are not growing, they're shrinking. And this becomes problematic if there are too many souls busy shrinking at the same time. When you look at the universe, and the scientists know that the universe is growing, it's expanding, they can see this. And so I was explained that it is the result of the spirit particles expanding. So when there are enough spirit particles that are expanding, and our dimension is doing this really, our universe is doing this really, really well, our universe is expanding, it means that all the souls in, or the majority of souls in that universe are busy growing and expanding. And we don't want to be contracting. So I was shown that what happens during a huge energy contraction, where there is a gathering of too many souls who are contracting instead of expanding, is they create black holes. And black holes are something we can't have all over the place. We do have them, and the universe is contracting in places, but if it contracts too much, we just sink into ourselves. So the lizards are actually very ingenious beings. They do understand mathematics really, really well, and this is why you will see everything that they do based in mathematics, their signs, their symbols, their architecture, everything is based in mathematics. They see it, which actually makes living on the earth a lot easier. When you are able to comprehend the mathematics of a wave just by looking at it, the way a wave is created over the ocean, then you are comprehending how they see things. And if you're able to use mathematics to basically equate everything that you are looking at, Earth just makes a lot more sense, or how to get what you want from the Earth becomes much, much easier. So as you know, when you spoil a child too long, it's not good for the child. The child becomes a monster to themselves and to society, which is what is happening to these red souls. They were given a great opportunity here on Earth, and they didn't. They've been having it too good for too long. They're having it too easy, and instead of growing, they are shrinking. And this is why their time on the planet is coming to an end. Big part of why it's coming to an end. Why they can't reproduce. They're trying desperately to keep themselves alive, to keep themselves on this planet. Okay, I'm reading actually from notes that were taken from this session. Sorry, just hang on a sec for me as I'll just look through this. So the promise of this planet if you come here, if you want to incarnate to this planet, the promise of this planet is that you will expand. And it's become very, very well known. This planet has become very, very well known for travelers far and wide. Souls far and wide traveling the universe come across this planet and they realize, wow, these souls are growing at a hang of a rate. I want to get in on the action here. And so there are a number of different kinds of souls being housed here. But it's really like a desired place to come for this experience. So the souls of those of us who are here are actually privileged to be incarnating here. And the lizards have been too, but they have because they are not in touch with the light, they have no idea actually what is going on in many things to do with the spiritual realm. In fact, they're very closed off from the spiritual realm. So what happened with some of these lizards? They've been with us they've been incarnating for millennia, as we know. I mean, they put up the barrier 10,000 years ago, and they were around a long time before that. As they incarnated, some of these red souls started to improve. They actually did start to improve. Enough to a point where they were allowed to start incarnating into human form. And the humans that are red souls, unfortunately though, even though they've been given that chance to experience somewhat of a connectivity to the divine, they generally are all backtracking and shrinking. And the reds are being given their last chance now. There's a huge number of reds that have been incarnated at this time. Those that are insisting that they can do better. Please don't kick us off the planet. We can do better. We'll do better. They're coming back now for their last chances. Some of them will succeed and will be allowed to continue. But most are not they're not succeeding. And their time here is finished. And that is what is coming, and that's what they're trying to stop. They're trying to stay on this planet. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. They can try whatever they want. Their days are numbered. The end is coming, and they're going to be expelled, so to speak, expelled from Earth University, expelled from this university. They've had enough chances. They've caused enough havoc. I mean, if you just think about a school and you think about some delinquent children in the school, you allow them, and they say they'll do better, and they try better. Some of them actually pull themselves together. Others end up just going completely haywire, and you've got to expel them. And so we're in the process of that expulsion of the red souls from planet Earth. And there are way, way more special souls at the moment that have started incarnating in the 60s, and is going to continue. Souls that have been called here from across the universe to assist at this time have come to Earth because of the huge transition we are going into, and because of the huge change that is coming for humans as this barrier gets taken down, and for the immense suffering that is being caused by these lizards. These souls have come here to help, to open up the way, to prepare, to fight, to get all of the things that were out in the darkness that we never knew about, to bring us back to enlightenment. So there are many of us on the planet at this time. I know that I am one, and probably those of you hearing my message are also part of the unusual group that is here to set things right. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there on the subject of the lizards and that revelation that I had. Please consider donating to me. You can find me on Facebook, The Skeptic Medium, and YouTube, The Skeptic Medium Christy. Thanks, bye.